Hey guys, thank you for being with me here this morning. Today, I want to discuss and talk about the steps that I take in determining if a property is a buy or not. And in determining if a property is a buy or not, if it meets these criterias, I buy it. I don't think on it. I don't take a ton of time. I research the area. I figure out the area, and I start, scouting the area. And once I've identified that area, if I can find a property in that area that meets the criteria that I'm looking for, I push the button, because not acting is the problem most of the time. Procrastination is usually when you miss the good deals, but it's also, our biggest problem. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these 6 points, these 6 season points. Now here's the thing. They're not in order, okay? They're not in order. So this is not from 1 to 6. They're not in order. In fact, I think the last couple is probably right up at the top. So, number 1, when looking for a investment deal using my formula, a great deal using my formula works with properties that is $60,000 and less. Now listen to what I'm saying. At $60,000 and less. Okay? Now let me build on this a bit, okay? At $60,000 or less, there's reasons why you want to buy it at $60,000 or less, because number 1, it does not affect your DTI so much, your debt to income. That's number 1. Number 2, conventional banks generally require you, if you're taking out a home loan, the home has to be at least $50,000. So you want to keep it within that minimum range as much as possible. Don't allow that to dictate the kind of property that you're going to get. Because let me finish talking about the other 5 points. Okay? 60 or less is number 1. 60 and under. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, you must be able to collect at least, and I do mean at least, 100% in rent of the mortgage amount. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. So say, for example, if you find a property for $50,000, okay, at a 4% interest on an investment property or 3.5% interest on an investment property, your note's going to come out to be somewhere around 300 and some change. That's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Okay? That's PITI. It's going to be 3 and some change. You want to at least make 400 on one of those properties. My general rule, it builds on that, because a lot of people don't understand that you make money on investment property 3 different ways. So it's not just the rents, and you'll hear me clarify on each one of these points as we go on. But you want to make at least 100%. A lot of people say you want to make at least $300. No. Terrible rule. You want to make at least 100% of the mortgage. In a market like this, it's going to be significantly more than 100%. Let me just tell you that. So for example, if your mortgage is 300 and change, your rents are probably on a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, upwards of $1,100, $1,200 to $1,300. So you're going to be clearing right at about $1,000 every month, and that is net. That's after principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's net in your pocket. Okay? Moving on to number 3. It must be a property that you would live in. Okay? It must be a property that you would live in. It must be a property that if you had to live in it, you would. Okay? Number 4, location, location, location. It has to be a great neighborhood. It has to be a great neighborhood. Location means everything, and I'll tell you why in these next couple of points. Why location means everything. You are planning to make money 3 different ways. Rents is one way. There's 2 other different ways. Number 5, you want to purchase in cities, and this have to go, this kind of blend into number 4, which is location. You want to purchase, this is one of those nuggets that unless you're seasoned, you really don't know about it, okay? You want to purchase in cities that have a grass ordinance and also a vehicle ordinance. Because those ordinances prevent the nonsense. If there's a grass ordinance, grass ordinances serve a couple of different purposes. Number 1, it maintains the manicured lots in the neighborhoods and just makes a better face of the city as a whole. But number 2, it also identifies properties for which individuals no longer occupy, which in turn, if you form those neighborhoods, you now know about those properties too. So all you gotta do is track down yourself an owner. The owner may live out of state. The owner may be in a retirement home. It gives you angles on why you are looking around and are searching in these neighborhoods, because you will find these kind of lots. Number 6, which is probably the most important one of them all. The property must have 75% to 100% of equity already in the property. The property must have 75% or 100% equity already in the property. Okay? What did I just say? The property must be worth, if you pay 50, it must be worth 100 to 85 or 75. If you pay 50, there needs to be 50 baked in already, which means if you pay 60, there needs to be 120. All that means is if you turned around and sold it the next day, yes, you'll be putting 50,000 in your pocket or 60,000 in your pocket. Equity is the value of the property. It's the market value of the property above the difference in what you're paying for the property or purchase for the property. That's your equity. So if you paid 50, You want to make sure it's worth at least 75 to 100. If you write these down, replay this video as many times as possible. If you cling to those rules, that is the quickest way to $1 million in real estate. It is the quickest way to $1 million in real estate. I will argue that with anyone. Okay? Also, it prevents you from blowing out your debt to income ratio. This is right. This is exactly why I am not interested in talking about the fake facade that young people who are in their 20s and 30s going out buying $250,000, $300,000, $350,000, $375,000, $400,000 homes when you can get out the rat race and then go buy one of those homes. Keeping it real is going to be your most important tool, because all 6 of those points are going to be dependent on you keeping it real. Do your numbers make sense? Are you trusting the numbers and trusting those points? Because if you do, you'll push the button and you'll be off to the races. You have your tenants paying down the notes of the properties. You'll get depreciation value when you claim your taxes on the properties. And then you get the appreciation value of a property. For $300,000, you can get 6 homes at $50,000 a piece. I worked my price per property average recently, and I pay right at about $45,000 per property. These are fantastic properties. I pay it right about $45,000 per property. Stick to the equation. The money's baked into the deal. This is that whole saying, you win when you buy. That's what it means. If you buy a property with $50,000 of equity or $100,000 of equity already into the property, you can turn around the next day and take that out. You win when you buy. Those are the rules to that saying. And this is just a rant.